The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Hello, Andy. Hello, Second Breakfast Nation. Andy, do you like my ginormous headphones?
I do.
If you could imagine headphones where how good the volume is
Inversely
to
proportional.
how big they are,
Yeah.
then that's where we're at, because you are like a whispering mouse. But it's not your fault. I'm going to be you know what that means? It means I'm either going to be more attentive.
I don't think that'll happen.
Okay, well then, or option B, which just means I'm just going to talk more and be like, well, he's not saying anything. He might be, but I'd have to stop talking to find out.
Right.
Nope.
Why would I do that?
Not interested.
Why would I boost the confidence of my whispering mouse partner? There we go. All right. It's been a really long time since we talked, man.
I know,
Andy.
it's,
I don't know if you remember me. We went to college together.
I mean, say more. Say more about college. What's funny is I didn't drink or do drugs in college, and so I have no excuse for not remembering you. And yet,
my brain's like Teflon. I
I have
nothing.
intentionally blocked out huge chunks of college.
Sure.
So,
I love college.
did I tell you? I know you did. It's so funny. I was having. Oh, listen, I'm going to tell you. You know what? Before we get into movies, so I hung out with a friend of ours. Do you remember Bennett Kolasinski? Do you remember Bennett?
Not from Tufts. No.
Oh, do you know him since Tufts?
From your wedding.
He wasn't at my wedding, so that's interesting.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know him from
So anyway,
Facebook.
but he's a friend of. He was friends with all these people who were
I believe.
like on the periphery of your life and mine.
Yeah.
And
We're
he was
really pulling in the fringe Second Breakfast
I don't listen, guys.
audience.
If you've
right
never
now.
listened to our show before, just shut up. You'll be fine. You'll all be fine.
That's true.
Just don't worry.
We'll be talking about movies.
You're gonna love what I'm about to say. Is the important thing. Okay.
Can't wait.
Which I may have forgotten in the midst of all this.
Okay.
No, we was taught. So this guy that I went to college with, haven't seen him since college except for like maybe once. And he married a girl from our college, but they weren't friends in college, or they didn't know each other that well. They didn't date in college. They like met after. It's very strange. Or they met.
Okay.
So they got married. Good for them. They got married. So we all hung out. I hung out with him. I hung out with his wife. It was very cool. We were all talking about our college experience, and and she was like, "Did you have a good time?" And I was like, "No," but then. But I've gotten a lot of distance from it, and I think what I've realized is that I was going to be miserable pretty much no matter where I went.
Sure.
Because when you think about it, I was in a relationship that, though it ended and fell apart and caused much strife, any relationship would have caused me much strife in college. I think we need to be honest about that.
I think relationships, sure.
Yeah, and it was not without its merits. It was a very special, lovely relationship, and I learned a lot. But I also, like, some of my best friends in the world, even you, Andy, I met in college.
It's true.
And so it's really great. And I'm like, really, I guess I'm complaining because I didn't have a great time in college, but I guess, like, I think I was just gonna not be happy.
Sure.
I think that was just a thing that was gonna happen. When you don't drink or smoke or do any kind of drugs, and you're like morally like revolted when people do, which really is less about morals and more about codependence and your own issues. Just let's be honest about that. When that happens, where are you going to go to college besides like Bob Jones or Liberty? And if I had gone there, I would have been a miserable person.
That's
on a whole other level.
A fact.
I think there's a couple things I could have done differently, but isn't that always the case? Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, more than you want to know about.
Sure.
I don't think that's what Sinatra's saying in that song, but that's okay. So anyways, the reason I brought it up is so I was working at a high school, my first job out of grad school, and the college counselor came up to me and was like, "You have to stop telling kids that you hated Tufts because I need to send some of them there, and you need to stop." And I was like, that's a fair point. So I did. And I would be like, people were like, how did you I'm applying for the Tufts. And I'm like, great. They're like, didn't you go there? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, did you like it? And I was like, it was a great place. Like, just deflect. And again, I think it was great for a lot of people. And I think I don't need to think it's a great school. It is very clearly a good school. There's just not, by all the metrics of what a good school is, I believe it fits the bill.
Agreed.
But I was miserable in many ways.
Sure. Well, if it makes you feel better, coming from someone who was actually very similar to you, and I don't say this with any judgment. You know this. I didn't.
Sure.
I didn't smoke or do drugs
That's true.
And drinking was
You drank so rarely that when you did, I was like, "Who? What?"
right. It was and maybe
And only when they were margaritas, I believe.
That's right. That's right. And maybe once before I hit 21,
Yeah.
maybe whatever. Unrelated story. I went on a choir trip to England when I was in high school, and a friend of mine bought me a beer, and the drinking age is 18 in the UK. I was 17 and a half, and I felt so guilty about it. I told my parents.
I love you.
Did I tell you this? Did I tell you this story?
No, but I love all of this.
I told my parents. I was like, I have to, like, Mom, Dad, sit down.
We got to talk.
Yeah, and they're like,
Get ready to be disappointed in your son.
I had a beer, and they're like, and
then you murdered someone?
That's exactly what it's like. And then you, like, did something happen? Did you get behind the wheel of the car? I was like, they're driving the wrong side of the road. I'm not going to drive here.
Right.
I wouldn't drive here stone cold sober. And they were like, Andy, thank you for telling us. And I suppose you did fracture the law, but this is not a big deal.
Andy, let's have a beer right now.
Yeah,
it's really what your parents were like. Maybe we need to get this kid a little bit like lit up every once in a while.
It was a sobering thought to realize I am definitively less cool than my parents.
The same.
Right.
My parents would look at me astounded at how conservative, and I don't mean politically. I just mean
right.
in my lifestyle.
Sure.
I was.
So,
I continue to be very, like, in my lifestyle, a fairly conservative person.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not necessarily in my. We're not talking politically or theologically, but I think in terms of just the kind of way that I am, I'm like, I don't want to do something unless it's something I've already done.
Right. So with that as my background, we were similarly straight edge, and I don't say this with judgment when I say I didn't have the moral qualms.
No, I was always jealous of you for that, and I think so. I just took that out by judging you for it because it's easier to judge people than to just be understanding, and it makes you feel safer and more comfortable.
Sure.
So, but my decision not to drink was not based on a rigidity around the law in terms of legalese.
Right.
It was really like based on family trauma and just being like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Sure. If it makes you feel any better.
And then I think the religious part of it was just all tied up in it because I grew up in a faith tradition where like everything was like, you didn't just not do something. You didn't do something because Jesus didn't want you to. And it's like, just settle down, just calm down. Like it couldn't just be, well, I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat. It's like, well, because Jesus was a Republican. Come on. Like it went to that place.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, we did get together like once or twice a week to talk about how much we hated you. If that is that.
It doesn't. It confirms 95% of my suspicions, and I am in zero surprise right now. I had two modes of thought. That
I'm the
either
terrible person. I'm sorry.
I know, but here's the thing. I know the reason I can say this out loud is one, I'm mostly over it. It's been many years.
Sure.
And two, I
We
don't
are old.
feel like I'm alone in this. When I talk like this, I feel like there's someone listening who goes like, "Oh yeah, I know that." And that's this. That either when I left the room, people literally forgot I existed.
Or
like and we all know those people in our lives that when someone brings them up, they're like, "Hey, remember blanket blank?" And you're like, "I hadn't until you said their name. Thanks for bringing them up."
Or
they would be
Mae
like
Whitman,
the thing you just said, like
right. We either completely you're either Mae Whitman in Arrested Development.
in Arrested Development. Who?
Her? Or oh God, thank God he like holding in a fart on a date. Thank God we can finally talk about it.
We can finally talk Phil's gun.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and we could go. There's myriad reasons why that was the way I felt about life.
Sure.
Many of them because of me and my own craziness, but some of them because I had some very weird and bad experiences with people. Like,
Sure.
and shocker, this is gonna blow you away. College kids are not always the most civil people.
That's what I was going to say. Like you were going through some stuff during
Yeah.
college, and I
A-
say this I don't
As
say
were
this
many
to-
college kids.
bingo, right?
Yeah.
And this is not to compare and contrast like severity. It's college is like one half step below like middle school in terms of like the crap
Yeah.
that you're going
Yeah.
through, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's just like you've got to like thinking about we're coming up on our 20th high school reunion not too far from now and so it's like not imminent but you know what I mean and so
No, I know.
I'm like and I've come to realize this and sort of intellectually I knew this when I was going through it that like the star quarterback and the weird emo kid and like they're all going through
Right.
stuff and no one had a good time and everybody like but so you have to
But
make your
some
own
people had a
fun.
better time than
Well,
us.
right. I had a fantastic time, but it has nothing to. It doesn't mean I didn't go through crap. It meant I don't know what it meant. It meant I was able to compartmentalize better than people around me. Honestly, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I think part of the like getting over the grass being greener on the other side is, and I say this like, I say it as I say it, is recognizing everyone's misery.
Yeah.
Like, is recognizing that everybody, the good and the bad exist in all people, and that there is pain and suffering and joy and hope in all people, to different degrees, of course. It's not all it's not all shades of gray. I mean, it just
Right.
isn't.
Right.
But there's black and white in all people, and there's different degrees of variations of that, and how they play themselves out and when. And so you can meet someone and be like, oh, they've totally got it together, or well, that person had it easier than me because they were gorgeous and
Right.
and the ladies loved them.
Right.
But but dot dot dot. Like, who knows? And so what? So be it.
Right. And there is. I think you're right. I think it's you've got to realize. I guess you don't have to. You don't have to do anything except grow
Right.
older. But you have to realize that like there's disappointment everywhere, right? And you can use that as a well, I'm going to be more disappointed, or you can use it as brother, right?
Yeah, and I go with the second one. I'm sort of
Yeah.
like, let's acknowledge. It's like that. It's that. Is it Stephen Foster song? Hard times. Let us
don't
pause from life's pleasures and I don't know all the words, but
Yeah.
hard times come around no more. But it's a recognition of like in the midst of the joy is sorrow, and we kind of hope the sorrow stays at bay, but we also pause from what we're doing to recognize its existence and reality in our life.
Yeah, I think I've told you this story, and I'll end with this. I was going in to Boston one day with my roommate Mark, who because he was my roommate for 3
I
years.
remember Mark.
Yeah, and it was
Introduced me to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the books.
good man.
Yeah, forever.
So the car, the T was really full, right?
Yeah.
And it was Porter Square or maybe Harvard Square, and this guy and the loudspeaker, the PA system says the next stop will be, and it was whatever the hub is right by Boston Common,
Right.
which meant it was going express. It was skipping like 3 or 4 stops. And the PA system cut off. This guy starts sprinting towards the car. He jumps on the car. It closes. And Mark and I look at each other and we're both thinking the same thing. Like, I wonder if this is going to be a problem for him, that it's going express. And we zoom through the next, like Charles MGH or whatever the next one was. And he turns to us and he's like, is this going express? And we're like, yes. He's
Yep.
like, is it going to Boston Common? We're like, yes.
Yep.
Like, damn it. Because he was going to the one before it.
Right.
And we're like, we're so sorry. We
Right.
were going to tell you, but you hit the...
It was too late, yeah.
The doors closed. And he said something to me that I will never forget.
I think I remember this, but I want to hear it again.
And it's the way, I will never say it exactly how he said it, but the words were so depressing. But he said it in such a life-affirming way. He said, "Oh well, life is a series of missed opportunities and forced approximations."
You have told me that story before, and I love it so
It's
much.
So, and I was like, oh,
Life is a series of missed opportunities and forced approximations.
oh, person I will never see again, you have forever changed me. Have a lovely day.
And
Right?
that's the side of Boston that I feel like a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
Because it's dark and mean, like Boston.
Yeah.
But people always joke about it, like it's sort of like this dark and mean, as if that's just people walking around flipping each other off and hating each other, which it is, but
It's that, but
they don't know what's behind it.
right.
Like I love New England, and one of the reasons I love New England so much, and I'm glad I don't live there anymore. I'm glad I live where I live, but I would move there again maybe if the circumstances were correct, and by that I mean if it never snowed again.
Good luck.
If the weather was like it is here, then I would totally move there. No, but I mean, I always let me see if this makes sense.
Okay.
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 This is going to sound so snooty.
I can't wait. I love when you get
Well, okay,
snooty.
so
I love your
it's a
snooty.
story I've heard about someone. So I don't like a priest was being sort of
Snooty.
dressed down by
okay.
someone who was older than him because the priest was young. And this is not about me. This isn't like I'm not telling a story about me. That's not about me. This is really not about me. This is a story I heard about someone. And
He lives in Canada, you don't know
was
him,
like,
it's fine.
well, I'm sort of along the lines of like the priest is in charge of like setting the liturgy, the worship, the way it's done. And this person was like, I've been around longer than you. Like I'm this much older than you. And the
Right.
priest said something along the lines of like, when I stand in this place, like I'm 2,000 years old. Like to the degree of like, I'm not speaking from my personal preference as this person. I'm speaking from a heritage that forms me and builds me into what I am, that goes back longer than you and I were alive. And that can sound really snooty and jerky, and there can be a real problem with that mentality. So I don't mean to like hoist that up, but that idea, like that to me is how the best of New England is when people talk and it feels like they have like 400 years of tradition behind them when they speak.
Yeah.
Whereas in California, everything you say, you thought of 5 seconds ago, if you thought of it at all.
Right.
Like everything in California feels as temporary. Like people will be like, "Oh man, that's a really old house. It was built in 1988."
Right.
Like, and they'll say it with zero irony,
Right.
and it's just like, "Well, that's an old." And you'll be like, "It is."
Oh, this coffee shop since 2009.
Right. How old's that house? 1647. Okay. Like, go to New Hampshire, look around, and then shut up about your life.
Sure.
Anyways, so movies, Andy.
Yeah. So missed opportunities.
Life
forced
is a series of
approximations.
missed opportunities and forced approximations.
Speaking of which, the movie is this summer.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to see Tomorrowland.
Neither did I.
And here's the thing: is I heard everyone say. I mean, I get that the reviews were bad, but two things. One is, no matter how bad the reviews were, none of the reviews said it was that bad. Like it got flat, like Rotten Tomatoes, whatever on the Rotten Tomato meter. But they were all like, it wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah, but like, I agree with you. But my problem with it, and the reason that I didn't see it, the reason I didn't prioritize seeing it, was because, not that I would rather see a movie that's really bad than one that's only sort of bad, but
Right.
it was like this movie never, like, all of the reviews were like, this movie is totally pointless and boring. So it's not bad, but it doesn't justify its existence.
I know you're right. Okay, so I went and saw the IMAX 3D of something. I don't remember what. I guess it was Avengers: Age of Ultron. We'll talk about that in a second. It's not that movie wasn't memorable, because it was. It's that IMAX 3D I'm over. I don't care anymore. I know that sounds like I'm a bad person. I don't believe in it anymore. But anyways, so I mean, I believe it exists, but I don't believe in it.
Right.
So
I saw
they
IMAX
showed like
3D
a
of- no, you
3-minute.
don't exist.
They showed like a 3-minute trailer of Tomorrowland, or 4-minute or 5-minute sequence.
Right.
I was like, I want to watch this movie.
Sure.
I was excited.
Sure.
So the thing is, and here's the other thing, Andy, how do you feel about Brad Bird?
How do I feel about Brad Bird? I'm already planning to go to take my girlfriend to see the reissue of The Iron Giant when it releases in theaters this fall.
Iron Giant The Incredibles. He used to write for The Simpsons back in the days when The Simpsons was the thing worth talking about in front of people.
He made the fourth Mission Impossible movie, which somehow managed to be the
which
best
is
of
maybe
them.
the best since the first one. The first one is
maybe,
special.
Maybe,
but
sure. I'm
so
still
anyways,
angry they made Jim Phelps the
Brad
bad
Bird
guy in
makes
that, but
good
what are you gonna do?
stuff.
Yes.
And he really wanted to make this movie, which makes me want to see it, even if it's bad.
Everything you're saying. Yes.
So I didn't get a chance to see it. I really wanted to see it. That's the only movie that I can think of so far this summer that I've just flat missed.
I'm about to miss Terminator Genesis. That's about to happen. It hasn't happened yet.
Well, like they say
But
in
it's
Office
gonna.
Space, I wouldn't exactly say I missed it.
There we go. There we go.
Like, I am skipping that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Skipping.
Yes.
It looks awful, Andy.
If someone else who is not me steals it, I'll watch it with them.
You know why I won't? Because that's paying with my time. Because, Andy, there are certain things you can't unsee.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Like, do you remember a couple years back? I'm not gonna use any dirty language, but do you remember a couple years back when there was a thing? I'm gonna talk about it though. I'm gonna mention something that's vulgar.
Okay.
I think we can handle this. I'm just trying to think about the borderlines of our show. We're always trying to, but it's always generally because of my own personal nonsense, not yours. So let's be honest about that.
All those conversations.
So there was a thing a few years back.
Keep
I
the
know,
language
right.
clean there.
There was a thing a few years back called Two Girls, One Cup.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
You didn't?
No. And part of the reason was every single person who described it to me was saying, this is the most vile thing that has ever been seen. Mm-hmm. And then they'd say, you should see it. And then I asked a couple people what it was and got at least let's say a brief synopsis.
Right. You understand what happens in Act 1.
And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, I'm never going to see that.
Sure.
And the zeitgeist of people were like, and then you must be wondering what kind of friends Father Phil hangs out with. That's a whole other conversation.
Sure.
But people were like, no, but you've got to. Like, that's the thing. And I was just like, except I don't. That's the thing.
It's true. You're right.
And I never did. Time has passed. And it's over. Like, it's not a thing that people anymore are saying you need to see. There was like a good 6-month period there
Absolutely.
where it's like,
yes.
Disgust. DISCUSSED, disgust.
Right.
And I just didn't. And listen, I want to say that I've seen some gross things in my life. I'm not necessarily one to shy away. But my point is there are things that, like, Terminator Genesis is like a 2+ hour movie.
Yeah.
And there are movies I want to see I haven't seen.
I'm about to say something ungracious.
To me?
No.
Okay, go ahead then. In that case, continue.
I don't know how to say his name. Is it Jay Courtney?
I have no idea. I don't know who it is.
J-A-I.
Jai? It's J-A-I, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Jai, J, Hi.
Hi.
He's a terrible actor. He's terrible.
I'm looking him up because I'm not sure who he is.
You wouldn't have seen him because I think I'm the only person who saw the latest Die Hard movie. He was the main bad guy who wasn't Werner Herzog in Jack Reacher. Did you see Jack Reacher?
Oh yeah.
He was the guy that Reacher actually fights with.
I'm looking it up on this computer I'm using, but this computer I'm using runs by the power of 2 hamsters on a wheel.
Right.
Honestly, Andy, I mean, he's a handsome man, but I don't know a thing about him.
Yeah, I've seen several movies with him in it. He is...
You pronounce it Jai.
Jai. Okay, thank you.
So Jai Courtney is a terrible actor, is what you're saying, and you're trying not to be mean about it, but he's a terrible actor.
I'm certain he's a nice guy, and the reason I'm certain is because he's really handsome, but there are plenty of really handsome people in Hollywood. I can't say why I'm sure he's a nice guy without piling on more, but there has to be a reason he keeps getting cast, and it's not that he's handsome because there are plenty of handsome people.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
You know how there are people like the little like.
There's another reason why people get cast though.
Which is?
Well, it's that a lot of times people don't actually care how good someone is or don't actually have good taste.
Sure.
And
That's
those
true.
people oftentimes work in the filmmaking industry, which is a strange dynamic to be sure.
So, Second Breakfast Nation. I recently last night I watched Tombstone because it had been too long,
Oh,
and so young Val Kilmer, right?
yes.
Buster Keaton, Cary Grant, Humphrey
Hmm.
Bogart, De Niro, John Cazale. These are people who are
Love what you're doing.
interesting to watch. Kuvanzani
Yes.
Wallace, the little girl who was in Beasts of the Wild and then
Yes.
the Annie remake. Like, you cannot take your eyes off her when she is on screen.
You're right.
Diametrically opposed to that
Gotcha.
is Jai Courtney.
This is how I feel. No, I'm not
like,
going to say
my
his name.
eyes slide off him. It's like
There is a very famous and very well esteemed and very handsome actor, star even, that people is one of the great, like, of our time, people that people think is like one of the great stars of our time, who I feel this exact way about.
please.
Where no,
Okay. All right.
we'll talk later.
Okay.
You know who it is. When I say it, you'll be like,
Ah.
ah.
All right. Yeah. So, Jai Courtney.
I just wish someone would answer his question about what's in the box, and then we could all move on.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
And I know I'm alone. I mean, I really am. I have people who say you're jealous. I'm not.
No,
There's nothing to be jealous of. I
don't.
don't. In the words of Varsity Blues, which I've never seen, I don't want your life.
I don't. I disagree with you, but not.
I
as,
know.
but not in his star roles. I think he's. I think he's. It was said about Dennis Quaid that he was a character actor in a leading man's body, and I think that might be true for your guy as well.
And the
Like,
more Dennis Quaid plays that out, actually, the better off his life is.
yes,
The more he does that, the better everyone's life is.
it's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. And I think you're probably right. I
So-
think that's a really well said thing. So anyway, so Terminator Genesis, you're gonna see it.
I'm not.
Okay. Well. Okay.
I will not.
Okay.
And
Good.
I saw Two Girls, One Cup.
That is what goes on the poster of that.
So yeah,
I won't be watching this, and I saw that.
there
That's
we
that's
go.
the poster.
There we go.
Terminator
HBO.
Genesis,
Yeah, right
worse than Two Girls One Cup. That's
there it is. I saw
and the thing
Room
is,
twice.
I mean, I love Amelia Clark from I wouldn't say I love her, but she does
She's-
great work on Great Game
Yeah.
of Thrones.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I root for Jason Clarke in all the things.
All the things.
If you don't know who Jason Clarke is, people are listening to us. Andy, come on, Jason Clarke.
Oh yeah, totally.
All the things.
Everything.
Lawless, he's great in the Rise of the Dawn of the Birth of the Second Coming of the Planet of the Apes. He's great in that.
He's so good in that movie.
He's
so good.
in Zero Dark 30.
Yes.
I just want him in all the things. Just put him in all the things.
Is
He's
in
great.
This movie. J.K. Simmons is in this movie.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, and a little guy by the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Who doesn't love a little Arnie? Well,
Maria.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
You're right. His ex-wife.
Look,
Is a
there are
little bit
things-
over him.
Look. I can't deny that this summer so far has been a bit of a disappointment, but there have been things I've liked. Can we stop talking about
Oh,
Terminator
so we talk
Genesis,
about that
please?
actually because I don't think
Yeah.
it's been a disappointment. No, well,
Okay,
listen.
okay,
Let me say a couple things.
sure.
Okay. I want to say three things.
Say three things.
Inside Out.
Oh yeah.
I could just say that two more times, but I'm not going to. Okay.
Yep.
Love and Mercy.
Hmm.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Sure.
What I have done is given you three amazing, spectacular movies that have come out during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw a movie last night, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which everybody else but me loved. I really liked, which
Okay.
sounds like I'm damning with faint praise.
Sure.
I could grow to love this movie,
Sure.
but it will take more than one viewing for me, I think.
Okay.
But I will say this, really well done.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to try and see it.
And you saw Dope?
soon. I saw Dope. To whatever extent it is useful to talk about objective quality in movies, to whatever extent that is useful, it's It is I feel like I would say the same thing you just said about Me and Earl. It's extremely well done. People seem to be going nuts for it.
Yeah.
And the way in which I went nuts for it is I don't think it's possible to watch it and not have a good time.
I would say all the things you just said about Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Okay.
All of those things.
I mean...
And especially like the idea of objectively, this is a very interestingly made film. Actually, all the movies that we've listed, here's my through line. And I will even put Avengers Age of Ultron into this list.
Okay.
Though I don't know if I think it's phenomenal, but that's okay.
I don't know that I think it's a summer
movies
movie, although
with
I
a
know I'm alone
point.
on that.
I know it is technically a summer movie, even though it came out like in February. Movies with a distinct point of view.
Sure.
Folks, point of view matters so much, and I think maybe what I want to say about like movies that matter to me this summer, point of view is huge. And what I mean by that is, I think the best example is Mad Max Fury Road, because that is a movie that is very clearly not made based on screening, like showing it to screen audiences and getting getting them to, what do you call that?
Like a test screening. Yeah.
Test screening.
Yeah.
That was them allowing a person to say, I have this idea for something and I'm going to do it. And he does things that are weird and out there that he is not trying to check a box.
Right. That's true.
And I would say that was true about Inside Out. I would say that was true about Love and Mercy. And I would say that was true about, I would say that about those three for sure. It just feels that way. The only reason I would add Avengers to that is, I think Avengers Age of Ultron, regardless of if people thought it was good or bad, isn't even the point to me. I really feel as if it was the most personal, huge, ginormous summer blockbuster type movie that I can think of, like in terms of, I really felt like I was seeing Joss Whedon like working through some stuff in that movie.
Yes. I agree with you.
Maybe personal is not the right word.
Well,
but I would say like connected to a personality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Because it is the summer, it is the age of people taking to Twitter and Facebook and going, why must there be so many sequels and remakes and reboots and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
If you say that and you haven't seen The Magnificent Seven, see The Magnificent Seven and then come back and talk to me.
I thought you were going to say, if you say that and then you go see those movies anyway, you're part of the problem.
You are. That's true. But
literally.
But here's the deal. The Magnificent Seven is not amazing because they took a story and just redid it again. It is amazing because they took a story that has been done before, and look, guys, every movie ever has been done before.
Yep.
And they put a point of view to it. And it's not as simple as, it used to be Seven Samurai, now it's Seven Cowboys. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's a different thing happening.
There is a point of view. Mad Max Fury Road, Inside Out, dope. No question. Question. Right?
I want to... Yeah, you're right. And I think Inside Out, first of all, let me say, far and away my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yes.
Nothing for me comes close in terms of how much I love it as much as Inside Out.
Secondly, number two for me is Fury Road, actually.
Yeah, I think number two for me might be Love and Mercy. That's how much I really but it's a distant second. That's kind of my point.
Sure.
Inside Out is an instant classic. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is part of it is I went in with really I hope this doesn't suck. Like that. I went in I didn't go in with great expectations, which is silly.
Sure.
Pete Docter made Up, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies, which makes it one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
And Pixar, again, their batting average ain't 1,000, but it's
awfully close.
It's really close to 1,000.
It's closer than most movie studios.
Like if Cars 2 hadn't happened, it would be really close.
Yeah.
And when you watch Cars 2, it's not god awful. It's just it's not original, and it's not, and I know, well, it's a sequel, but like Monsters University, the more I've seen it, the more
Yeah.
I love it. Like
Sure.
love. I'm like,
Sure.
this movie, I liked it the first one. So I
And
guess
all
what
the
I'm
Toy
saying
Story
is,
movies get better, so the fact that it's a sequel.
but I
is
guess what I'm
not-
saying is
yeah.
Pixar needed, like, they hadn't made something that was just
They hadn't made something that like captured the essence of the zeitgeist in at
of
least
what
a few
Pixar's
years.
meant to be
Yes.
in a while.
Yes.
And this does.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
I want to. I don't. We're not going to do a whole podcast on it. It
Right.
is my favorite movie of the year so far,
No question. No question.
and my favorite. And it goes immediately into the Wall-E, Incredibles, Up, Toy Story 3, like echelon for me of Pixar movies.
Yep.
It deserves to be discussed with them.
Yes.
That when you have the discussion of what are the best Pixar movies, it needs to be in the conversation.
Yes. Yes.
So
Completely agree. I completely agree with you. And I guess when I say that the summer has been a disappointment for me, it's more along the lines of like, and this might be much like your experience in college. This might just be my own stuff I'm working through. Previous summers, I would like every week, I would be faced with this decision. Do I see this movie that's coming out this week? Or do I see a movie that I loved, like one of the 4 movies that's still out that I've seen that I love that I could see again,
yep.
right? I was going to go to a movie last night. I'm not sorry I didn't because I watched Tombstone.
Yep.
But I was literally like, what would I see or see again?
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean.
Although,
Like-
you know what the answer to the question is? Spy. Have you seen Spy yet?
You know what? I haven't.
Oh my gosh, Andy,
I'm sure I'll love it. I just didn't.
Andy,
I know.
I know. Well, okay, I've said it before.
Mhm.
Melissa McCarthy is a comic genius,
You
or as they say in Quebec, genius. I don't know if that's true. I've never been there.
I hope it's true. I'll move there. I'll move there if it's true.
If that's true, I'm there. I will learn French Canadian just to live there.
Mhm.
But that's not true. I think it's called Quebecois. That's, if I understand the language correctly.
And I think that I do.
And I think that I do. And Paul Feig is. I think that, like, when you talk about Blake Edwards and
Wow. Okay. That's not an I disagree
I think
with
when you
wow.
talk about Blake Edwards and Peter Sellers, I think you need to think. I think we need to start having the conversation about Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy. First of all, Paul Feig's credentials are unquestionable to me. So I read something about Paul Feig, and I'm like, the guy created Freaks and Geeks. So now you get to shut up about everything else. Okay? He created one of the great television shows of all time.
Yep.
And that really was a real partnership. It's like people going like, well, Jerry Seinfeld created Seinfeld, and it's like, well,
Yeah, but
well,
Larry
he
David
did.
was right.
Well, he did with Larry David in a
Right.
very specific partnership that they needed both of them.
Yes. Yes.
Likewise, and so for Larry David to say he created Seinfeld, he can say that.
Right. Right.
Likewise, both Paul Feig and Judd Apatow created Freaks and Geeks.
That's right.
Both have very personal stakes. It's not an either or, it's a both and. They love each other still. They care about each other's work. And the direction that both of them have gone is very interesting to me. But the direction that Paul Feig has gone, especially since Bridesmaids, it's like he has made this decision. And he's said it in interviews, like, I am going to be the comedy director that makes movies with women in them.
Right.
Like, and not as ancillary, like,
Right.
byproducts of the movie system.
I will pass the Bechdel test continuously.
Right.
Yes.
And I think The Heat is so funny.
It's
And
so
I don't
good.
care what anyone says.
It's so good.
One of my friends was like, that movie wasn't funny. And I was like, you're incorrect. This is not a matter of opinion. You're just outing yourself as someone with bad taste.
Yep.
When Melissa McCarthy decides to cuss, it's one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Spy is as it's. I mean,
come
I
at
think
this-
no. I think I mean, Spy is fantastic. It's
I come at
just
this-
fantastic.
I come at this from a not from farther back than you do, but from a with Melissa McCarthy in particular from a very interesting place.
Oh, you watched her on that show, The Gilmore Girls, yeah?
Yes, I have seen every episode of the Gilmore Girls because I like it when intelligent people talk fast and insult each other. I find that funny, and that was all that show was.
That happens on that show.
Except for Melissa McCarthy's character, Suki St. James, who is like, if you could like compress sunshine until it is like person, like a person shape. That is what she is. She is the sunniest, most pleasant. It does. I mean, she goes through some stuff, but she is always smiling. She is always like supportive. She's the best friend character to Lauren Graham's
Okay, right.
Lorelai, main character, and so when she busted out on Bridesmaids, it was shocking to everyone because it is always shocking when you see the birth of a new star career.
Yep.
But it was a special kind of delightful
Yeah.
for me, and I think I don't think that's I think that's probably true for a bunch of people that love Gilmore Girls. I will see Spy. I have
No, and I mean, I actually think it took me longer. I liked her in Bridesmaids, but I was sort of like, I loved the Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, what's that guy's name? O'Donnell stuff, or whatever the
Yeah.
Irishman's name is.
It's not Chris O'Donnell.
Isn't it
It's
great that I'm like
Chris
O'Donnell?
Chris O'Dowd.
O'Dowd. And something.
Wow.
Riley O'Mick or something. I don't know.
Wow, Donald Trump.
I don't care. So, anyways, like, dude, if we're at a point where we can't tease the Irish, we're in serious trouble.
Oh my
like,
God.
Like, really.
Just go.
So I says to Mabel, I says, no, but my point is the same, right? Like, I was really ensconced in that story, and I felt to some degree that like Melissa McCarthy was just kind of took it to a place that was really like on another planet or from another place.
Okay. In a bad way.
And I can appreciate that more now, but at the time I couldn't.
Okay.
I mean, I thought she was good. I was like,
Right.
she's doing a great job. But it seemed like two different movies a little bit.
Right.
Because all of a sudden she's driving along in the minivan with like 8 dogs, and you're like,
Right.
okay.
Right.
But
Right.
but that's fine. I just need to go back, and the more I mean, I've watched Bridesmaids a bunch of times, and I love her. I think she's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I watched Mike and Molly. Mike and Molly's not a good television show.
That's what I hear from
It's
you.
not.
I believe you.
Both of the leads are so genuinely endearing.
Sure.
Like, genuinely, that I fell in love with her like through a bad television show.
Sure.
And then by the time The Heat came out, I was like, well, I got to see this. And then I think that movie, I think she's a revelation. And part of it being that she can
better
carry a
in
movie.
that movie than she is when she got the nomination for Bridesmaids.
Yeah, I think so. I that was one of my favorite performances, male or female, all year.
Yep.
That year.
Yep.
And she's I think she's as good as, I think she's just that great. And people will say, oh, well, she did Tammy or some other garbage. Sure, no. Listen, actors make bad movies.
Right.
I mean, Will Ferrell makes some terrible garbage, and you don't see these frat boys ever stopping loving Will Ferrell.
Right.
Will Ferrell's an extremely talented, funny guy who doesn't always do good movies, but he's always putting it out there.
Right. You know what?
But Melissa McCarthy's a woman.
Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's not allowed identity
And
within
she's-
Tammy.
And she's overweight. That's
Yep.
2 strikes.
That's right.
And I actually think being overweight is a much bigger crime than being a woman in film. If you are an overweight woman, forget it. Good luck.
Well, you can be a fat guy.
But the immediate, what's funny is people are looking for like the next John Belushi, and it's Melissa McCarthy.
It is. I love.
Except that she's
everything
not,
you just
because
said.
she's the first Melissa McCarthy.
Right. Well, right.
Because
Yeah.
she's not actually doing him. She is her own. She is her own
Right.
presence in a really
in
special
the same way. In the same way that if we had been doing this podcast when John Belushi was in Animal House, we would have been saying things like, "People have been looking for the next Zero Mostel."
Right.
and it's
Well, yeah.
it's
I mean,
John
it's always
Belushi.
that, right?
But
Like,
it's
well,
right. It's always that.
Bob Dylan was the next Woody Guthrie. Well, except
Right.
that he wasn't.
Right. The next
Right.
blank is always the first, and that's
Right.
why they are both the next blank.
And
the
she is
first.
the new. So I you need to see Spy. I think
Okay.
that'll give you something to go see. Should be in the theaters for a couple more minutes.
Sure.
It did well.
Sure. And
uh,
just if this weren't clear, don't nobody come at us with complaints about the all-female Ghostbusters, because I could not be more excited for that movie.
I completely understand this one thing. Why make another one? I hear that.
Right.
I hear it.
Yep.
Because they're going to. Because money.
Right.
Because shockingly, show business
Doesn't care about your feelings.
doesn't care about your feelings other than how to exploit them for money. And we should be grateful. I'm not even remotely kidding when I say we should be grateful for every piece of art. Inside Out happened.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, why aren't more movies like that? Shut up. It happened.
Right.
By the way, for every Beethoven, there were like a bunch of guys who sucked
Yeah.
that were really famous in their time.
Sure.
But nobody or they were really like they were sitting there playing music, getting real paid, getting the men, getting the women, getting whatever they needed. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the reality. So let's just keep like I am the opposite of like why can't there be more great movies? I am like delighted every time something great comes out.
Yeah.
I am not excited for them to make a new Ghostbusters. I am excited for Paul Feig to be working with Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig,
Right.
And
Right.
those two other women from SNL whose names I don't know, but Kate
McKinnon,
the African American chick's name I don't know, and I feel bad about it because every single time I see her on SNL,
is it Leslie Jones?
it very well could be.
Okay.
And she is like one of the roughest. She actually has some of the worst moments on SNL. Like she did this thing with Chris Rock, which was considered like the worst sketch in the history of SNL. Like
Oh.
when she fails, Andy, she fails miserably. But when she succeeds, oh my glorious God, it's beautiful. And I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great cast. I think if you're going to do it, I think they've found a really interesting dynamic, and I think it'll go really well.
Yes. Leslie Jones. Woo!
Good job, buddy.
Leslie Jones.
Way to name the person. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm as excited as I can be about the fact that they're redoing it.
Right.
They're doing everything right.
Yes.
Okay. I have been disappointed this summer, Andy.
Okay.
Have you had any disappointments?
Individual disappointments, I think, and this is tough because I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of this movie, but I have to put Jurassic World in my list of disappointments.
Like what? That's the movie I was thinking of when I asked the rhetorical question.
I gotta talk through this because here's the problem. Like, it's exactly what I wanted. And if you strip away nostalgia,
Yep.
Jurassic Park is not E.T. It is not Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is not true top shelf Spielberg.
Nope. Well, okay, no, you're right. That's correct.
I will.
Nope.
That's a hill I'll die on. Right.
You're fine.
As I love it,
right? You don't need to die on it.
Right.
But you just said it. Stripping away nostalgia, Jurassic World is a movie made on the back of nostalgia.
That's true. That's true.
If our generation of being children is now the people that are making movies, and we're buying tickets and we're taking our families, Jurassic World may end up being the highest grossing movie of all time.
I'm okay with that because Colin Trevorrow is a great director. Like, the problems with this movie, I don't lay at his feet.
Let's not call. Can we take it down a notch?
A good director.
Thank you. I mean, he's not there yet. He might end up being a great director. I don't think a great director would have made this movie personally. But
he's made one very, very close to great, if not great movie.
Which was?
Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, it was a very good movie.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie. That's fine. It's a very good movie. Duplass brothers, love that. Listen, okay, my turn. Here, can I help you talk through it a little bit?
The last thing I'll say before yes is nothing about this movie makes me sad at the advance reports that he might direct Star Wars Episode 9.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. Proceed.
Well, the Star
Governor.
Wars movies are now in a place for me where like anything they do is going to be better than what was. So I just they have officially
Right.
It's in a very interesting place for me. I'm not worried about them. Like you can't ruin some. We've talked about this before. There was a podcast you and I did almost like 2.5 years ago where we talked about Disney buying Star Wars. Anyone can go on YouTube and find that video and watch Andy and I's discussion on that. I think I said it then. They've done the damage. Now we're playing with house money at this point.
That's true.
Playing with house money.
Agreed.
Because my feelings are clearly not something that anyone from there cares about.
Stop.
It's just Jar Jar. I mean, true. Okay, so it's one of the most superfluous movie experiences that I have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And what made me mad about it, actually, the same as you, I wasn't mad while I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never emotionally invested. And what I was mad about this with this was that they make a point of talk. The premise of the movie is that the movie shouldn't be made. That's actually the premise of Jurassic World is that Jurassic Park was such a bad idea as a place that continuing it's a terrible idea, and that trying to redo it for nostalgia purposes is not going to work. That's actually the premise of the movie, which would be clever, except then don't make it. But they did, and they did for one reason: the Benjamins, as it were.
That's true. It's all about the Benjamins.
I can't wait till we can say it's all about the Tubmans. That's going to be an amazing experience.
Well played.
I don't think it should be the $10 bill. I think it should be the 20 or the 50, but that's a whole other conversation. The movie was made for money, and I know that we were just talking about that's the deal. I get it. I just felt like insulted, and I felt like it was so slickly done, and with so many people that I love.
Yeah.
I love Chris Pratt. I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
Me too. Even though she was in the Village.
In several ways. I love Vincent D'Onofrio.
Sure.
I love Jake Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I love the young lady who is his counterpart in the movie, and their comic relief.
Right. I don't talk about him. I'm at work. Yeah. Yes. It's very good.
They had a lot of random people like kind of around.
Can I get some love thrown Irfan Khan's way? I love that guy.
Is he the scientist?
Boss. The boss. The guy who flies the
Oh,
helicopter.
well said. And it's the first time I've ever seen him not the most serious person ever.
No.
Every time you see him, it's like he just buried an ancestor.
Have you seen? Very quick digression. Have you seen the movie The Namesake?
Yes, that's my point.
It is glorious, and
it's not a glorious movie at all. It's a B movie. He's phenomenal in it.
Fair point.
Like the movie is so mediocre. Did you know that our old professor's ex-wife is in that movie?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk after.
We will. We'll talk after.
But like, I recognized her.
Wow.
I was like, that's his wife, ex-wife. Wow, that's weird.
Okay.
And I was right. Waiting for the credits.
The reason that I think that it's an amazing movie is because that's how good he is.
He's so good, and he's fun in this. And everybody, listen. Everybody does a bang-up job. The effects are fine. It is a hollow movie.
Yep.
It's not just that it's popcorn. It's that it's hollow. And it tries to address its hollowness and thereby get away with being hollow.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work for me. I'm insulted. Don't try that with me.
Yeah.
So I think Jurassic World is bad for humanity, but that's okay. I love Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and everybody else in it. They all did great jobs. Judy Greer's in it because why not?
Because why not? She needs a new jacuzzi in one of her homes.
Why not?
Yeah,
I'm for it.
I don't say that
well cast, really like deeply. And is it D.B. Wong?
B.D. Wong.
B.D. Wong. Love him. Just put him
he's
in
great.
stuff all the time.
I love that guy.
So great cast, never boring. The end, I'm just like, but it's everything. It's just like the way that the villain is dispatched
Mm-hmm.
is everything that's wrong. Definitely America and maybe the world. And I know that I sound like a cranky old like Luddite when I say that. And I'm just the guy who said you should just be happy when things that are good happen.
Right.
But I just like I couldn't believe that this movie's like been so is it just seems like this movie's like really loved.
Hang on. When you say villain, do you mean human villain or dino
Nope.
villain?
Dino villain. Although
Oh.
both honestly.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
I mean both honestly. Both it was just like
How
the
about
human
this?
villain, it was like they had to have a human villain. And I was
Right.
like, you don't even need this.
Right.
It's just a weird turn of events.
What a and this is actually the thing that's getting a lot of like play on when people talk about the shortcomings of this movie. What poor assistant.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that was
Like-
like your buddy Blumberg, I think, wrote something about that.
He did.
And I thought Andy Blumberg is a friend of Andy's and Andrew Blumberg, and he wrote a thing on that. You should look it up.
Yep.
And he was right on. It was mean.
Yeah. It was.
It was not the right tone for the movie.
That's right.
I think the thing you can say about Jurassic Park, the original.
Mhm.
It's the same thing I'll say about Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't consider Guardians of the Galaxy a great film.
Sure.
People like I think it is an Indiana. I think it's a phenomenal cosmic Indiana Jones team flick. I think it does great work. It's fun.
Totally.
What it manages to do is be pitch perfect
Yeah. It is consistent in tone, even as
and
yes.
understands itself.
Yes.
Understands itself fully, and by Roger Ebert's like standards,
Yeah.
it accomplishes the thing it sets out to do basically flawlessly.
Yep.
So then it's just a matter of taste of if I want that thing.
Right. Do I want the thing that it does flawlessly?
And this movie is not that.
I agree.
It's got close, but I think it's too clever for itself by half.
I agree with you.
What's up? We gotta wrap up a little bit. Like what else?
Yeah. But
Is there
I don't
anything
wanna-
coming up this summer that you're really excited about?
I am legitimately excited for Ant-Man for the same
Okay.
for a slightly different reason they used to be. It used to be
For Edgar Wright?
for Edgar Wright, and now it's for Paul Rudd. I
I mean, you're never gonna hear me say anything bad about Paul Rudd.
indeed. I'm interested in the Fantastic Four because I like it when fanboys on the internet get angry, and
I mean, you like it when Michael B. Jordans,
that's true.
and I like it when Miles Tellers.
I also
And when they do it together, I'm on board.
right.
And their movies aren't always good, but I don't care.
Did you see that awkward moment?
I saw enough of it to know that I did say it was terrible. I don't care.
Because I like me a little Zac Efron too, so that should have been right up my alley. And
Terrible.
you know,
Don't care.
right?
Well, bad movie's a bad movie's a bad movie, no matter how many good people you
Sure.
put in it, right?
But wasn't-
Jurassic World?
Wasn't Imogen Poots in that movie as well?
Yep.
And I just wanted to be cast in stuff so I could say the name Imogen Poots.
I was gonna make that joke for you. I'm glad you got to make it.
But-
Okay.
So those two.
I'm excited for Trainwreck,
Me too.
the Amy Schumer flick.
Yes.
Really coming into her own, that Amy Schumer.
Mhm.
It really doing the thing she's always done and finally getting recognized for it, which is a
Right.
beautiful thing.
I have to end, and I've mentioned this movie already, but I really want to hammer home the fact that people should go see Dope.
Yeah.
It is. This is what I want to end on, or for me anyway. Dope. It is just impossible not to have fun with. It reminds me of like an 80s teen movie, not in its depth. This is not John Hughes. This is not even like Clueless or Mean Girls or any of the better teen movies that have come out since the heyday. But the thing that all of these movies had in common, they are just compulsively watchable. And that sounds like I'm damning with faint praise. There is not a moment in this movie that I was not having an excellent time. It is.
I look forward to you seeing Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Me too. Me too. There is a girl. I will forget her character's name. It's three main friends. It follows one kid and his two best friends, and the only person in this movie that I had seen anywhere before was he has a one of the two best friends I had seen before in a very small role. Zoe Kravitz is his his love interest.
Okay.
I had not seen the main kid before. I had not seen his other best friend, who is this young woman. She's probably 87 with how Hollywood people age. I don't know, but she seems young,
Right.
and she is going. The main kid is going to be a star. This young woman is going to be a star. She is. The last time I felt this way, I wasn't totally right, but I like to think I wasn't totally wrong either. When I saw Better Luck Tomorrow, Sung Kang, who went on to play Han in the Fast and Furious movies, like everyone is good in Better Luck Tomorrow, and he lights up the screen. This girl, she plays a lesbian.
Talking about Zoe Kravitz?
No, I love Zoe Kravitz. I think she's very,
Okay.
very good. She pulled off a character named Toast the Knowing,
Well, there you go.
right? So, okay, you could do. I can't do that. I can't pull
Nope.
off the name Toast the Knowing.
Nope.
And she's very good in this. The main character, the main guy, he is a star in the making, and this other young woman is a star in the making.
Love it. Love it.
It is. It does.
I'm excited.
And
I will see it.
And it's a story about three minority kids in an inner city school. And it was the most diverse crowd I have ever been in a movie with. Like because
Well, that's very cool.
there were fewer than 30 people in the theater. There were young black kids. There were old white women. Asian, Latino, it was like a United Colors of Benetton ad. Like it was crazy.
I love that.
And judging by my informal exit poll as I was listening to people on my way out of the theater, literally everybody loved it. It is universal in the way that all compulsively watchable movies are. I couldn't.
I would say
Sorry,
similar things. I would say similar things about Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Okay.
Me and Earl and the Dying Girl is if Juno had been as clever as Juno thought it was.
Wow.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
It's if Juno had been as smart as it thought it was.
Okay.
Juno couldn't possibly be more clever than it thought it was. It thought it was the most cleverest thing in the universe. It definitely is as smart as Juno thought it was.
Okay.
And hits a lot of similar, I won't say there's no pregnancy, but it hits a lot of similar notes in my mind, except just more authentic. It felt more authentic, even in its stagedness.
Okay.
And I would say I'm looking forward to a movie called Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal because I've seen the previews and
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, it looks really great.
looks like a fall movie in the middle of the summer.
And
And that's what I want to say about. I want to close out just by saying, what's that?
Right. It reminded me a little bit of Warrior. in
Yeah,
that,
yeah, definitely.
like,
I want to close up by
yeah.
just saying one little thing about Love and Mercy.
Please.
I went to see this movie because my friend Johnny Sneed is in the movie. He's a drummer. He actually played drums at my wedding. He
Awesome.
plays the drums at the church band where I used to go to church. But he's like this just, I don't know if that's going to ruin his reputation or not, poor guy. It's not a normal church. I'll tell people that. He's a magnificent artist, a wonderful musician, and a very, very talented actor. I see him in commercials a lot. I'm waiting for this guy to get his big break because I just think he was on a pilot once as like the Kramer character. It didn't last, of course. It didn't get, it was showed 2 episodes or 3 episodes and it was gone. I'm waiting for this guy to. So I went and see Love and Mercy because he's in it and he plays Hal Blaine, who's the drummer for the Wrecking Crew, famous session musicians, and he's got some good key scenes in it. I was prepared to see the movie on the principle of the fact that I like all the actors in it. Paul Dano's in it. Elizabeth Banks is in it,
Paul Giamatti,
playing
right?
the same role she loves to play, the unstable guy whisperer,
Nice.
the sad sack whisperer. She's the sad sack whisperer,
True. That is
and
true.
she's so good at it. She does a great job. I would actually like to do. I honestly want to. Not kidding, Annie. I want to come back at some point. I do want to do a podcast just on Elizabeth Banks,
Nice.
but not right now. I think she's so special. Paul Giamatti, like my top 5 favorite actors working today. Paul Giamatti, not even close to my favorite part of this movie, by the way.
Sure. Okay.
John Cusack, who I haven't loved in 20 years, is phenomenal in this movie. But this movie has so much heart and so much inventiveness and creativity. And it is so singular in so many ways. It has 2 different guys playing the same guy, and it pulls it off. And it did not have to pull that off. Let's just be honest about that.
Right.
There's 1.5 million ways that could have gone wrong, and one way it could have
Well
gone
said.
right.
Well said.
I was so astounded by my friend being in it, seeing him on the big screen, but he's not the main character. He's just in it. Someday Paul Dano's going to get respect.
Oh, I think he gets respect. I just don't.
Not to the degree.
I just don't. I think he's got all kinds of indie cred. He's just not in. He just hasn't signed on for a Marvel role yet.
No, not even that. I mean, he hasn't gotten any nominations or people talking about him. I mean, it's like, look it up.
Was he not nominated for There Will Be Blood?
I don't think so. Maybe he was. I could be wrong.
No. But he's done other.
He
worthy
just
stuff.
keeps being such a spectacular and strange
Yes.
presence, and he is so. And the heart. There's so much friggin' heart in this movie and beauty. And it made me go. I bought like 4 Beach Boys albums and a Brian Wilson album when I got home.
Nice. Yeah.
So
nobody else. Like I believe it. I instantly believe him as, without having seen it. I believe that he pulls off the young Brian Wilson. You think about like his role in Little Miss Sunshine. You think about his role in Ruby Sparks, right? How many people could pull that off? And it just.
there's some. He's very similar in my mind to Adam Driver, which is that these are actors that bring with them a certain otherness. Benicio del Toro fits in this category. They bring with them a certain otherness that people don't always know what to do with, but it's really spectacular.
Agreed.
So, anyways, it's gonna be a good summer.
Not nominated for. I can't find any nominations for him.
Yeah,
He's great.
He's really great, and I don't think he gets credit for that. So anyways, yeah, we got some more stuff coming up. I think we should do an end of summer. We'll talk in September again about this stuff, but we'll talk before then. We've got some stuff in the works.
In the hopper. Put it in the hopper.
It's good to get back on the wagon, my friend.
It's true. Absolutely. Let's talk. Let's hang up on the podcast. We can talk more about how college was kind of awesome and terrible at the same time. Alrighty.
I'm over it.
Over it. Folks, this will bring us to the end of another Second Breakfast podcast. For Phil Duvall, I'm Andy Roth. We are Second Breakfast. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.
The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.